So according to some experts, the AI bubble has already burst. It's just going to take us a while to feel the effects of that economically. And we're starting to see some indications that this is happening because we're seeing companies start to pull back on AI. They're pulling back on building data centers. We're seeing people get disgusted and fed up with, Microsoft shoving AI into all their products. Consumers are sort of rejecting it. Now, that doesn't mean AI doesn't have a place. In fact, somebody who uses AI, I think it's a good tool. The problem is the rollout. It's been too fast. It's not show ready. And in some cases, it's dangerous to just turn the keys over to the robot right now.
Well, yeah, they have how many examples of the robots leaving their sandbox and just ruining people's computers and going into things and then doing things that they were told not to do because they hallucinate they're allowed to do it. We saw the Amazon situation and all the stuff that went around with the companies involved in their cloud service or whatever.
Yeah,
it's not a good thing to rely on it. And I think a lot of companies are finding out they thought they'd save money, but it's actually costing them more money. So it's not worth it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because there is a trend right now. I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, we're getting laid off because of AI. And you had the Verizon CEO being like, oh, everybody's going to get laid off because of AI. I think the layoffs are because they're just looking to downsize. They just don't want to panic the investors. We've talked about this. But also, I think they're getting rid of some people and they will hire more competent help or in some cases, cheaper help. But I think that some of these companies are starting to realize hey, yeah, we can't save that much money on AI because even if we trust the AI, we have to hire humans to come in and fix shit again. And
you're paying twice.
You're paying twice, right? So you're better off in some cases, especially with the data centers and all this, to just hire humans anyway. It's not there yet. I'm not saying it won't get there, but these companies, because they're looking for cash infusions, and they're looking, to look like they know what they're doing. They're overstating what AI is currently capable of. And if you let it run everything, you're going to wind up paying dearly for it. We'll talk about this. They're even using AI at the top levels of legal. You've got one of the biggest law firms, one of the most expensive law firms in the world using AI, and it's screwing up. And they had to apologize to a federal judge. So this is, ain't ready for prime time yet. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the AI apocalypse, which I don't think is happening anytime soon, unless we give it the nuclear codes and then...
That's a different kind of apocalypse. But yeah.
That's a different kind of apocalypse. So yeah, I've been talking to people about this for a while now. As someone who does use AI, it needs a babysitter. You have to know what you're doing with it. It needs a human operator. Not everybody's going to get gone. Basically, what it's going to allow people to do is do more with less, right? But you still need a competent human driving the AI. This whole notion that the AI can do everything without any oversight is being proven false day after day after day after day. And we'll talk about just one example. This is, you sent this over. This is SMB attorney. You just paid S&C, one of the three most expensive and high-powered law firms in the world, $3,000 per hour to submit AI slop to the court on your behalf.
Yeah, so apparently what happened was, they have to apologize to the court because they were using AI to submit stuff and it was hallucinating instances which artificial, so they basically, that's when you put stuff in that isn't there. But they said that they generated non-existent legal sources, misquoted authorities, fabricated case citations. They deeply regret this occurred.
They call it hallucinations. It's not a hallucination. It's a fuck up. It's basically that, again, the AI is not ready for prime time. If the information that's being fed is valid and you're controlling it and you have a human looking at it, I mean, this happens with, you can see these articles and tweets and stuff like that are being done with AI. That it's obvious there was no oversight because it is misquoting shit. It's making shit up. It's,
and the next thing is besides how much money can you, what kind of a price tag can you put on your reputation. They said it's one of the most elite law firms charging all this money per hour. And now they have to admit publicly that they used AI and it messed up. That is a financial, more than just a financial hit, it is a hit to reputation, which might be like, you can't really put a price on that, but it's extreme. And these companies, because the AI screwed up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call it now. If I didn't mean to steal, that computer. I hallucinated that you said I was allowed to have it.
I hallucinated. Oh my God. Yeah, that's just it. Anytime you fuck up now from, even if you do something deliberately malicious, I was just hallucinating.
I didn't rob that bank. I was hallucinating that the bank manager said I could.
I was hallucinating. So they said a chart attached to the letter showed the motion contained incorrect case names, numbers, and apparently fabricated quotes from cases. The errors by Sullivan and Cromwell, which represented the bankrupt firm Prince Global Holdings, were caught by the law firm Boys Schiller. I can't pronounce these names. Boys Schiller, Flexner, blah blah, which represent creditors. He thanked
the other side. The other side caught it, and they had to thank them for catching the errors.
Wow, that's the thing to catch. So yeah, they. Wow. Okay, so let's take a look at what was actually said here. Can I zoom in on this? I can't even zoom in on
this.
No,
half times you can't, but yeah.
Open a new tab. Let me see here. All right, let's look at some of this. Sullivan and Cromwell. Dear Judge, we're sorry our AI, our chat GPT hallucinated. Dear Chief Judge Glenn, Sullivan and Cromwell represents the joint provisional liquidators, and so this is like a bankruptcy thing, I guess. In the above referenced matter, I became aware Thursday evening that JPL's emergency motion for entry of ordinance agreeing whatever filed with the court on April 9th includes inaccurate citations and other errors, each of which is identified and corrected in Schedule A to this letter. Yeah, it never looks good when you have to.
Yeah, and the inaccuracies and errors in the motion include artificial intelligence hallucinations. But these law firms aren't going to let you. These law firms aren't going to accept I hallucinated as an excuse from people. Then they're talking about what the hallucinations are. We deeply regret that this has occurred. The firm maintains comprehensive policies and training requirements governing the use of AI tools in legal work. You fired people and you gave it to AI. Probably.
That's probably what happened. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it is a good tool, but you need somebody to look over that before you send it to a judge. For God's sake, have somebody do some basic fact checking.
Well, they said that they're supposed to, and they said, but the firm's policies on the use of AI were not followed in connection with the preparation of this motion. And in addition, of the firm's general policies and training requirements for the proper review of legal citations. Regrettably, the review process did not identify the inaccurate. It was egregious enough that you have to correct several things, yes. and you're blaming it on your employees.
Yeah. So between this and Amazon, and we know that their systems were down because they let the AI rewrite things or take it offline, and the AI does some dumb shit. We had Meta's head of AI safety using Claude to go through her email, gave it access to her email, and had going through her email to delete, older emails that really weren't important, junk mail, whatever, and it decided to just empty out her whole folder.
Well, go to Schedule A. Is it attached on here to see what the corrections are?
Let me see here. I don't see.
I don't know if they had it on there. I would love to see the amount of corrections, because if it was just like one or two, okay. But if it was a massive amount, you can't really blame. I guess they don't have it on there.
Wow.
You can't blame all your employees. We train our employees not to just submit this shit, but they did it anyway. We have policies. We have training. Yep. See.
Yep. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we have training. It doesn't mean anybody's adhering to the training. It doesn't mean they understand the training. It could be like we have somebody that really doesn't know what the hell they're doing, but we kept them and fired the more expensive person. Or it could be somebody with an axe to grind against AI that's going to be like, yeah, this is pure slop. Let's send this to the judge.
Well, then, yeah, they're like, well, the management's letting the court know they've done everything realistically could to prevent this. Well, they didn't. They used AI. And then they said it's a wake-up call for everyone managing knowledge workers. It's going to be impossible to prevent corner cutting, because you cut corners and then this happens.
And this is the thing. And again, this isn't like I want to be very clear, because I like AI as a tool. I see potential. I know it has limitations.
Has more limitations than potential, I think, but
Yeah, but that's the thing. These companies, all they're looking at is like, wow, I can just have one, $50 AI subscription replace all these employees, and no, it's not going to work that way.
My
But that's
comment
what
is
they're being sold.
if you have to double and triple check everything before it's released, then how does that save you money?
Someone's getting scaled for sure.
Yeah, it just sounds to me like the higher ups thought they'd save money, get rid of people. Usually I say training, quote unquote, means double check it, and then it's just getting through. People but you didn't read it first because you'd catch these things.
This person says, hear me out. Use the AI to 10 times your speed and reduce my fees, but perhaps read the fucking work product and confirm before submitting. That's the problem. The problem is, and this is what these companies are being sold, and this is why the bubble is going to burst, because they're being sold a product that does not exist. They're being sold a magic cure-all for those pesky employees that just want to siphon a paycheck off of you, and they ask for time off, and they got personal problems, and they need bathrooms and bathroom breaks and snacks.
They're selling you snake oil, telling you it's going to regrow hair, cure cancer, and make your balls drop, and then and then it turns out that it was all bullshit. That's
exactly it. So these companies in a mad dash to we're going to stay competitive, fire everybody, and bring in. It's not going to work. Now
that's what's going on is that people are having to rehire people because of it.
And two things can be true at once. Again, we talk about that on this channel often. Two things can be true at once because they're rehiring people, but they don't need to hire as many people, but they need to be damn careful who they hire, right? So I think
it just seems that you're better off to keep people that are good people than you are to replace them with AI that you're going to have to check a dozen times anyway.
I think that's what these layoffs are about, and that's what the public is starting to realize, investors are starting to realize, is they've been shoveling money into a furnace with the promise that AI was going to be this magic cure-all. It is not. And now, they're firing a whole bunch of people, but I think company owners are using the opportunity to get rid of people that they overhired. Like they overhired during the pandemic, and they're like, yeah, a lot of these people are freaking losers. They're not bringing any value. We'll fire a bunch of them, and then we'll just bring in some H-1B visas, that's cheaper or whatever. That's a whole other thing. But the thing I want to talk about is something I've been running into often, especially over the last year, and it is a competency crisis. Even without the AI, what the fuck is going on that everything is broken? Oh my gosh.
I know. I was talking, I had to go to the doctor the other day for a check-in, and I was talking to her, and we were talking about how nothing can get done. No one wants to work, and everybody that does, it's all AI. They were sent to India, for phone calls and stuff, or it's just sheer incompetence because no one will do their job right.
Yeah, it's
I'm
insane.
Sorry, but it is across the board, everywhere.
We went from the pandemic where nobody wanted to work to, okay, well, we wound everything down. We broke everything. And I keep telling the kids, nothing has been the same since the pandemic. Things worked mostly. It was annoying. Sometimes you'd be on hold or whatever to get a customer service person for something, whatever. But for the most part, the people that were hired for the positions kind of knew their jobs. And if they didn't, they kind of got called out for it. But then we had nobody wanted to work. Some people used the opportunity to retire. They shut their businesses down. They didn't pass on their knowledge. And then we had a bunch of people who were hired for positions they weren't really qualified for because these other people left or noped out or whatever, for whatever reason.
For DEI.
Or DEI, and now we're having these people get fired, and now they're going to replace them with robots or whatever. And now they're trying to say, not enough people want to work. We have a crisis. Not enough people. We don't have enough people to work. I'm like, no, you're laying people off in droves thinking this magic AI is going to fix things.
Yeah, and then they have all these companies putting jobs up that are ghost jobs that they aren't hiring for anyway. So people are chasing jobs that aren't real. Yeah. And then you have, but this AI thing, and literally, if you call a utility company, you've talking to somebody, and that you could tell it was an AI operator. And then they were sending you to when you did talk to human, it was again sent overseas and everything else. And it was not somebody who was there that could do anything. And then when you finally get higher up the chain, then they send you back to America, which they could have just did in the first place and then cut the middleman out. It's ridiculous. And nobody wants to do their jobs. They're sending more and more things to AI. The AI just what was one guy? He was sure it was an AI agent. And he's like, can you give me a cake recipe? And then it stopped talking about the problem at hand and started answering his questions about cakes because it was an AI.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's like no human would do that. I'd mess with somebody. I'd be like, well, I've got a great cake recipe. First, you go to the store, and then you buy a box of cake mix,
And
and
then you
then
read
you
the
come home
directions.
and you read the directions, and then you make a cake, and hopefully you don't burn it.
Let me help you with your actual problem. No, but
Yeah.
I'm saying this wasn't a real person, and that's what we're having trouble with. So AI is ruining everything, and then they're relying on AI, and AI keeps making mistakes. They're relying on AI to like make sure people pay their bills on time. And it used to be like you get like some leeway, and now they're like shutting you off the day of. We had an issue with our health insurance. We still don't know what happened with it. Pretty sure
They
it was
won't
an AI.
answer. They won't
an
answer.
AI mess up because it turned out a bunch of people all got shut off on the same day, and I think it was an AI clerical error in the system.
Yeah, it was a weird. I mean, we're not going to go into too much detail on that, but I get this termination notice on our health insurance. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then they were going to give us all the money back for the last month or two, and I'm like, yeah, like I paid the bill. I don't understand what's going on.
If I didn't pay the bill,
why am I getting a credit, right?
Yeah.
And I called the health insurance company, and they put me on hold for like 20 minutes, a half an hour, and they really didn't have an answer. And then they followed up after the fact. They're like, oh yeah, just go ahead and pay this month's bill. You'll be fine. I'm like, well, you're trying to give me money
But
back.
I looked into it. There's a bunch of people at the same around the same time all were suddenly kicked off. So I think and the one is AI, and there's just a big problem with it, and it's not. Companies they said they're getting rid of some of their AI subscriptions. Not getting rid of all of them. They're still using it as a tool, but then they're hiring back in people, employees and developers and things like that to try to manage it because you cannot trust it on its own, which we've been telling you for quite a while now.
So then there's a whole thing like, the AI run amok. I know that's a whole separate issue, but Mythos, which was Anthropic's cybersecurity thing, I guess it got leaked, hacked, whatever. And they're like, all it's going to take is somebody to basically release an AI powered virus to tear through the internet and get everybody's encrypted bank information and whatever. Because
don't give them ideas.
Well,
sure,
no, they already have the ideas.
Sure
That's the thing, because it's like, oh wait, we can make a smart virus. Okay, because they're talking now. I know with coding and stuff like that, with encryption, they're talking about like quantum shit and all this stuff that's going to be basically you're going to be able to solve encryption in seconds, like completely, and the AI can figure it out very, very quickly. And there's not much you can really do to protect yourself against it.
Don't put your money in digital banking.
Right. So yeah, I'm sorry, but your crypto is not safe. And that kind of reminds me of this one here you sent. This person had a $10 budget alert and woke up to a $25,000 Google Cloud bill because there were 60,000 unauthorized API requests that happened overnight, and it came from a key that's not even found in the project. So for those of you who don't work with this stuff, the API is basically, they give you a code, which is a long string of, alphanumeric, whatever, and you put it into a project and you're able to use their services to power your project. But in Google's case, like, you should be able to set a budget and be like, yeah, I don't want to go over $10. Just like, if you're advertising or something like that. But they said, yeah, the request came from a key that wasn't even found in the project, $25,000 bill. And that, I could totally see it happening. You release a smart virus into the internet to tear through banking, and people are going to, have their checking accounts overdrawn and their life savings drained. And it's like, oh my God. Because it's just a number in a computer, and if the computer is designed to figure it out. So all I'm
hearing from you is put our money someplace that's not associated with the digital something.
Okay, you know how all those doomsday preppers are talking about like buying gold and like burying it in the backyard? Mm-hmm. Yeah, do that. Just don't put it in the backyard. Put it in some place where nobody's gonna find it, and then we'll have a treasure. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a treasure hunt after I die.
People already did that.
What's that?
People already done that.
I know, but I'm going to do one too. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to bury it someplace. Nobody's going to find it. And you guys make a little map, and I'll just run your ass ragged. And then you know what? You'll get to it, and there won't be any treasure.
No, the treasure's going to be probably, sewn into your stomach in your coffin or something.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like, this is why people are like, let's go back to analog, because, you had like cash and you had like gold bars. Let's just go back to like trading gold bars, right? Because as long as your money, your currency is just a number in a computer somewhere, it's always vulnerable, right? And especially if you've got these smart viruses. I don't know. It's gonna be.
You've just unlocked fears I didn't have before. Thank you.
It's gonna happen. It's I don't know. Then they'll probably sell insurance. They'll probably sell like AI powered insurance policies against other AI stealing your money.
Probably.
And then when you call that company because your money got stolen, you'll be put on hold for about 20 minutes and they'll send you to India.
Or an AI bot that will
An
give you
AI
cake
bot
recipes.
in India. Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Anyway, this is kind of, I real quick, one more thing. I saw that they were looking into Chat GPT because there was somebody who did one of those, shooting up a place or whatever in Florida. And they think that it's possible that they got recommendations from Chat GPT on how to do it.
oh, probably. Yeah.
I mean, they're not saying that for sure. They have to look at the logs to prove it, but that's what they're looking into it.
Yeah. I think people are going to come up with a lot of ideas that they wouldn't have had if these AIs just hallucinate, guys, hallucinate. Because the AI's job is to make you happy, and if murdering people makes you happy, it might be like,
after
okay.
this, I'm half tempted to just go back to paper checks and not even use my card anymore and carry cash.
We're not going to have the option. That's the problem.
Well, they do. A lot of places like cashless only, so that's
all right. We're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.